Now, look, we talked about this a couple of years ago, Kenny, and the response we got was absolutely extraordinary. People just saying thank you for actually talking about it.
Yeah, I suppose for me, I look back at my rugby career and I was really brave playing rugby, but I was never brave about being dyslexic. And now I'm happy to talk about it. I'm brave and strong about it. And I think all through my life, it was a stigma, being thick and stupid, and that's how I felt.
And yet you weren't at all.
So bright, it was unbelievable.
But you really weren't, because you have to be clever in order to hide it. You have to, don't you, Gabby? No, you have to find ways round
it. And Inspector Clouseau here found out. I think also, yes, you have to have strategies, and you have to, but that takes up so much energy. And you think of all the wasted kind of time and opportunities trying to keep that from people.
But you knew, didn't you? You had an inkling.
Yeah, there were just a couple of things that he'd kind of said and done, but then one day there was a double-page article about me in a national paper, and I was reading it, and I said, what do you think of this? Because I wanted his opinion, he was a new boyfriend, and the way his eyes darted around the page, I knew...
There was a lot of pictures in it.
I knew...
How long would this take to read?
So see, you're thinking all the time.
Yeah, and I knew he hadn't read it, and especially as there were a couple of lines that weren't very nice.
Right.
And he went, yeah, it's good. And he looked at me as if to say, is that the right response? And I said, are you dyslexic? And his face just went ashen, and he looked absolutely devastated.
Gosh.
And I felt sad that his reaction, was like that. And, you said to me, didn't you, that you felt in your heart, she won't want to go out with me, she'll find out and she'll dump me, and,
That was my first reaction, because you go back to your school days, they think you're stupid thick, and I knew I wasn't. So that was this whole feeling for me, and I said to Gabby, do you still want to go out with me? And she went, why? I went, because you think I'm thick and stupid. And she went, no, I think you're brave. And that was the first time somebody had actually probably said that to me.
Right.
And that gave me that little bit of a courage. But even, I didn't really want to talk about it, did I?
No, it took a few years of trying to kind of break down the barriers and work out ways that, I wanted to help him, but at the same time. And it was very alien to me. I love reading, I loved school, and here was somebody who had a completely different school life and experience to me, hated school, because that was where he was reminded every day that he was different and couldn't work out why. And when he told me stories about how he'd punch his head to try and fix it, he'd come home from school and kind of hit himself, and just things that kind of, made me feel so sad that how are we going to make life a little bit more enjoyable for you when it comes to reading? I mean, I don't think you're ever going to kind of want to read tons and tons of books, but now...
No, I'm reading Doddie's book now.
Oh, Doddy Weir, who was on last week, of course. Amazing, amazing guy. Because he actually helped you out one time, didn't he? Not unbeknownst. You were... Because, I mean, all these big obstacles that would happen, even things like when you're playing rugby and you're in the plane going to another country and you've got to fill in your form.
Oh, yeah.
So I first went to... my first time I was picked for Scotland, I was 19. We're going to Australia, so I was more nervous about learning the team sheets, the team names, and making sure that I could sing a song if I got a cap.
Landing card.
But we're heading on the plane, we've got landing cards, and I immediately panicked, thinking, I've now got 24 hours to work out how do I fill this landing card in. So Doddy was filling his in, so I thought, Doddy, give us yours just to make sure I get the hotel name right. So I fill it out. Relief.
Well done, yes.
And I always go last, because if anything's wrong, I don't get caught out. So Doddy goes before me, I'm right behind him, and I give my passport and the landing card. And the guy goes, Mike, you don't look like Doddy Weir.
So you just filled in everything, including your name? Oh,
I copied everything, copied his name. And in fairness, the guy said, give it to me, I'll fill it out for you. And then I went through and I was like,
When he told some of his teammates years later at the World Cup in Australia in 2001, some of them, like people like Gregor Townsend, who's now the Scotland coach, they just said, Kenny, why didn't you tell us? And,
I know.
We always thought you were forgetting things because you'd always go back to your room, or you'd make excuses to be late for team meetings, and so you didn't have to be the person that wrote the moves down. And, But like you say, it's that strategy, trying to think. And,
I used to walk into a room, and the first thing we do is paper, pen. Right, how do I get out of here? Who's going to be? Where do I sit? Shall I sit back here so they can't see me? So it was all stuff
and people thought...
It was exhausting, actually.
It must have been absolutely exhausting.
But coaches also thought you were kind of a bit lazy and not bothered, didn't they? Because they were kind of thinking he wasn't interested in getting involved, and,
Oh, what a shame.
So, yeah.
But now it's so different. But the thing is, I mean, if you catch it early, if you'd been at school and been maybe an enlightened teacher, perhaps, or somebody would have just spotted the signs, it would have been so different. It would have been so different.
There's so many things out there now for kids.
It's great.
And I think parents and the whole teaching infrastructure is more aware of different children that are struggling. So there are opportunities for them to get help early on and understand them. I think that's the big thing for me, is they don't understand them. There's so much going on in their head. Simple things that you don't have to think about. The processes their brain's full of stuff, and they just clear that out to make it easier for them.
Just things like moving children in the classroom where they sit, you know, having somebody near them who's, you know, understands all those things, which would have been really beneficial.
It'd have really helped you, especially now with, you know, with mobile phones and with all of that,
so much
social media, you know, they have to be. What about your kids? They're great. It must have been brilliant for you when they started reading and writing, and they're doing really well.
Cry my eyes out.
Where did you cry?
My daughter was very much in front of herself. Ruben was a bit slower than she was. Because they're twins, you sort of look at it at the same time. But when he started reading to me, I was just crying my eyes out. And he looked at me and goes, "What's wrong, Dad?" Because he was maybe six or seven, so I was really emotional. Because I just didn't want him to feel that I felt.
He was really
pain.
that idea that they could love school. He was so to see them skipping in school and skipping out. And Ruben has some traits of dyslexia. He's you know, he can read and write, but he's been diagnosed as having a few of the examples that you would say is dyslexic. But he's mildly dyslexic. But he's just loves school. He loves he's never
difference.
and so I think that for you was just such a joy, wasn't it, that you could go to school and.
I wanted to love school. I used to go in every day going, "Today's the day. I'm going to smash it." And then come out like that. It was just hard work.
I know. It's a shame.
It's a different place now.
It is a different place, and it's brilliant that you talk about it, and it's so lovely to see both of you. It really is. And there's a lot more help out there. And actually, you started off a big conversation a couple of years ago, and it's helped so many people. We still get people getting
I think the thing as well about Kenny gave me a book when I first found out, called The Gift of Dyslexia. And actually, dyslexics a very interesting book, and dyslexics do think in different ways.
And that's good.
Kenny now works with companies who actively seek out people with dyslexia because of the way they problem solve, and so I think it's to look at it as something. It's a challenge, but it's just not going to define you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Don't hold it back.
You're right. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. And for lots more information and advice about living with dyslexia, do head to our website. Loads of information there.